welcome to the Worship Artistry Podcast. My name is Jason Houtsma, and with me is...
Christina Kaslanka.
And we are here to talk about Christmas. We're the guests.
We are the special guests, but also your regular guests.
Well, we're normally the hosts, but now we're the guests.
That's true,
It's
yes.
kind of like on SNL when they have the musical guest is also the host as well. It's the same thing.
So I can be your musical guest, and Jason can be your host.
There you go. Okay.
Just kidding.
What are you trying to say about my music?
I don't plan on singing on this podcast.
Well,
You
plans, best laid plans. You sing all the other times.
I do every other moment. I feel like there is not a week that goes by that Jason doesn't try to sneakily record me singing random things that I sing.
Yeah, well, the other day she was like whistling. She was listening to something, and then she's like, "You have to hear the song I was whistling to," and it was like a theme song to a Korean drama.
It's true.
And I was like, "Obviously, this is clearly."
It was a beautiful piano piece. Ugh, it was so nice.
Well, speaking of being recorded when you're not looking, I noticed on our Instagram story somebody was filming me in a meeting.
I did. I filmed Jason in a meeting yesterday, and he was just sitting there holding his guitar. And just as everyone was speaking and discussing business things, he was just
Holding
plucking
it
away.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm just really glad you grabbed something where it sounded like I was actually in a business meeting. Like,
I actually intended to mute the audio on that, and it didn't mute. So
well, I was saying pretty smart stuff.
you sounded smart.
I
That's
was
good.
following up on projects.
Whew, at least once.
Get me those TPS reports. Did you get the memo? That kind of stuff, you know?
Very nice.
Well, we're not here to talk about business, though. We are here to talk about Christmas.
Yes.
Because it is December. It is the week after Thanksgiving. We just did a Christmas webinar, which if you were there, if you were one of the people, I just want to say I apologize for dropping off like the last 5 minutes. We had 5 minutes left, and all of a sudden my computer just died. Like it wasn't like the screen froze. It's just the computer, just everything locked, and then it just shut down.
And then I saved the day.
You did. And then Christina saved the day, jumped in almost like it was planned, except you could look behind her and go, you clearly did not expect to be on camera today.
Yeah, it was kind of a rough background, but yeah, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. But we just did a webinar on arranging Christmas songs because that's kind of a very important thing at this time of year, especially with worship teams because, a lot of times Christmas songs are... You have the classic Christmas songs like the carols and that sort of thing, and they were written a very long time ago, and they did not well before rock and roll and 5-piece bands and all those things, and they're not really written for those. And so,
You mean "O Holy Night" was never meant to be done in a rock band?
no, we actually did not do a Holy
Yeah,
Night.
I know.
I can't bring myself to do it.
It's a beautiful one, though.
I know it is really beautiful, but it's like just do it the way it's always done. Don't touch it.
That one I feel like you can just do. I don't know.
If you can sing it, you can just do whatever you want because that song is hard.
Yeah.
You can sing it,
It's
right?
I can. It's my favorite one. I do it every
You want
Christmas.
to give us a little chorus?
No. Almost got me.
So close. So close.
But arranging is something that we do, or I guess you and our teachers do on a weekly basis because of all the lessons we release. But it is not a common thing for worship teams to think about.
Right.
Because they'll just take, a song that's released and from, all these worship teams and try to adapt it to just how it sounds. And they'll just try to do it the best that they can to sound that way. But I don't think worship teams approach songs in that mindset of, how am I going to arrange this for my team?
Right. And a lot of times that's because there's not materials out there for that. Right. Like it's kind of like, at least when I was growing up, it was, here's a chord chart. Right. And and so you look at a Christmas chord chart and want to have a heart attack because you're like, I don't even know half these chords and it's in some weird key and I'm a guitar player and I don't even understand that. Right. So that doesn't really work. And then, or you have a lot of scenarios where you have these newer songs coming out and a lot of materials for those newer songs, every Christmas, we're always playing catch up on like, what's the Christmas song everybody wants to do? Yeah. And like, let's make sure we get an arrangement and get a tutorial out for that. But if those things like with, I don't know, at least in my church, like they don't really like the new ones. And it's not that there's anything wrong with the new ones. I'm just saying in my scenario, everyone's like don't throw a chorus in that song. Just give me the song, man.
Yeah. Well, I try to do a good mix. Like if I'm doing a set leading up to Christmas, well, this year Christmas is actually on Sunday, so that's going to be super fun. But leading up to Christmas, I will do kind of those mix ones, especially the Pabalosh ones. Those are perfect. Those are solid and easy to throw in there, and we've done them long enough that people know them. But on Christmas Day, that's when I will maybe throw in one that's like a newer worshipful arrangement, I guess. I mean, they're all worshipful, but just the newer modern take on a song. And then the rest will be the classics because same thing. Like people want to sing. People on Christmas, they want to sing what they know and they don't want to be challenged and having to stop in a spot where they're not used to stopping.
Right. Or like, we did a different melody for Joy to the World. And like, why?
Yeah. Why did you change a classic? Right. So, I mean, and I think at some points, every church is a little different because like I'm thinking about like what I've been using for Joy to the World. Like I've been doing a different arrangement for it.
Have you been doing Unspeakable Joy? Because it's basically Joy to the World now.
No.
Okay.
I do the Joy to the World from Hillsong that they released a couple years ago. And it's the same verses that it would be normally. And then they just added a little like tag as a chorus that is easy to sing.
I want to say that one's on Worship Artistry. We did a bunch of songs for that
Bethany
album.
is confirming off camera that it is on Worship Artistry.
Our producer, Bethany.
But that's a great one. So like for us, I almost consider that the default arrangement for Joy to the World because I do it every year, or at least I have for like the last 4 years.
Do you do them in worship sets? Like do you try and make your worship sets Christmassy? Do you try and like jam a couple Christmas songs in there? Do you treat it as like a separate part of the gathering? Like what is your
No, I will jam it into the worship set. Yeah, I will just jam it in.
I'll just stuff it in there.
Stuff it in. No, I try to like so leading up to Christmas, it'll get progressively more Christmassy as the month goes on. Yeah. That's kind of even on the last Sunday, which I think no, I guess we won't have another Sunday after Christmas this year, right? I don't know. I was going to say that even the Sunday after Christmas, I will usually still treat it like it's Christmas, just because everyone's still in that mood. But leading up to Christmas, it'll just get progressively more Christmassy. Yeah. So at the beginning, like last Sunday, I did, which is the Sunday after Thanksgiving, I just included "Oh Come Let Us Adore Him" in my set, which is such a easy way to like ease into Christmas.
Right.
And it was the only one I did, and everything else was just, our standard worship songs. But then next Sunday, I'm not actually leading, but I would expect whoever's leading to like add in a little bit more Christmas stuff. And then just like, as we're going, it'll increase. Yeah.
Yeah. There's always, we started off, we do Advent. We kind of theme things around Advent. And I used to try and jam those Christmas songs in, and it just never worked for me anyway. And so Christmas would roll around and I would become Scrooge. And everybody would be like, when are we doing Christmas songs? And it's like, Christmas Eve, because that's when it's Christmas. It's not Christmas until then. It's Advent. We're waiting. He's not here yet. Like, but he is here yet. And also, we would like to sing Christmas songs at church. Yep. And so I was being an idiot. How
long ago was this?
Yeah, it was a few years ago.
Just last year?
Yeah. Well, no, it was not. It was longer ago than that. I've been working in this scenario now where what we started doing is I'll do like 2 Christmas songs up front. We'll do the Advent reading, and then I'll do something worshipful that's kind of themed around Christmas with some like sneaky Christmas songs. Like there's actually a number of Christmas songs, like Christian songs.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask. I think you're going there, but what do you classify as a sneaky Christmas song?
Well, any of the ones that sneak up on you.
Just catch you by surprise.
Yeah, no. So anything that talks about the birth of Christ or God's dwelling with us, a song like "Here I Am to Worship" starts off "Light of the world, you came down into darkness."
That's a good one,
right? And it's a classic, and everyone's kind of already in a classic mode, so that one fits really well. King of Kings, a couple of those kind of like real.
Yeah. King of Kings is the first one I thought of because I was like, that one. When we learned that song
Yeah.
with their team, I loved it because I was like, oh, this is a song that we can do on Christmas, on Easter, and on Pentecost Sunday.
Nail it all. Yes. That's what
Perfect.
that's what they were going for. They're
Yeah,
like, let's
I
bump this
love
thing
it.
up the charts. Let's hit all the high holidays.
Love it. I was like, oh, and I can do it multiple times. It's gonna be great.
One that I introduced last week, and I haven't sung this song in a very, very long time, and I just started it. But I tagged, Lord, I lift your name on high. You came from heaven to earth to show the way.
Oh, that is sneaky.
It fit. Like I'm trying to remember what song I did for it. And then we did that, and then we went into Agnus Dei.
That's
It's
a good
another
one.
great one that
Yes.
just kind of like feels
I
very
think-
solemn and holy.
A good one too is All Hail King Jesus.
Oh yeah,
That's a great one.
that's a great one. Well, I've got like All Sons and Daughters have a song called God With Us.
You know, a good one I do all the time.
What?
Jesus at the center of it all.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. I actually have done that one several times leading up to Christmas because it's just perfect.
Yeah.
Like for the season, for the
Right.
time, just
It fits, and it's kind of like a special song. Like it kind of has a little bit to it. It's very cool.
what a beautiful name it is.
Oh yeah, that's the one I was trying to think of. I was
yeah.
like, that's a good
I use that one for Easter all the time because of the chorus, but just singing about the name of Jesus being Christmas, the time that he was named and you know, and all this stuff. But
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's great when we use songs about Jesus.
You know,
that's if
when
you
we
can-
sing about Jesus,
But they are themes, and so you know, and like you said, Paul Balash has done stuff. One thing I really like to do with Christmas songs is actually sneak in Christmassy tones with like regular songs. So you know, for keyboards, like bringing in some like bells or some
Yeah.
of those like harmonium, like almost like what is what's the thing that's like a keyboard, but it's like an accordion, but it's sitting down. I think it's called a harmonium.
I don't know.
Anyway, somebody can correct me on that. But it's just something that has kind of the accordion, like reed kind of a sound to it. Those kind of, it's interesting. All the songs that have been coming out have been like the upright piano sound. Been like, oh, let's all gather around. You know, that's
Yeah, the
that's
piano.
that's the good sound now, right?
Yeah.
So things like that.
Which leads us back to arranging, which is something that we've been really focused
Right.
on, like around Christmas carols. Because this year we released our third Simple Christmas Carols. Well, Simple Christmas Carols Volume 3. That's a mouthful. But I think we had talked about it last year. Yes, we did a whole episode talking about Volumes 1 and 2. But this year we released 5 more songs.
Yep.
That's where Jason referenced. We started Christmas back in July, August.
Yep.
That's when we were knee deep in arranging those
Right.
and recording those.
Simplifying them, and like it's kind of funny because we started with the CCLI song select charts, right? And those have been simplified from like hymn books. But there's still so many
So
things. We're still
complicated.
cut so many more chords out.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of fun to approach them that way. But I really thought about it from the standpoint of my band, right? And thinking about, okay, how do I make this in a way that you can enjoy playing this, but I'm not asking you to do too much? You know, like these songs, they're typically like 3 or 4 stanzas of the same thing. And they can be really challenging to try and build and grow because you're
Make
like,
it different. Yeah.
there's no other chords, there's no other anything. So how do we step into those? So a couple of things that we did was a lot of times we added little intros that would have some kind of just unique melody that hinted at the song, but didn't necessarily like copy it exactly. But it kind of gives it. So like I've noticed with my players, I've got one guitar player in particular who's just like, oh, he just loves it because he's like, I've got the part and it sounds great and I've got this. So that's one thing we try to do to keep it interesting. We also, they're kind of a lesson in building parts from the standpoint of, you know, I would start with like what the electric guitar part's going to be. And it would be like, okay, this one's going to wait till the second stanza, and then it's going to do something a little extra, and then a little extra, but it's still all built around the same theme. So you're never like, oh, no, I got to do this whole other thing, and now I got to do a whole other thing.
Which one? This might be like choosing a favorite child, but do you
I heard
have
the
a
bells on
favorite?
Christmas Day.
Okay, that's his favorite one of Volume 3. He already knew. He was ready for it.
Well, okay, that's one of my favorite Christmas songs.
Why? Because that's kind of out of the norm. I don't think I've ever even sung that song.
Yeah, well, and I think Casting Crowns did another version, and I think there's also like multiple melodies for it. I just love the whole story. So if you're not familiar with it, the writer, I want to say William Wordsworth, but I could be wrong. It actually came from a poem, and he's writing from a perspective of his wife had just died, and his son had just been wounded. I think it was the Civil War, and he's just kind of lamenting this thing. It's like, I heard the bells on Christmas Day, the old familiar carols play, and wild and sweet the words repeat, with peace on earth, goodwill towards men. And it really leans on that, like, peace on earth, goodwill towards men. And then it kind of talks about how it's like, but I thought about how there was no peace. He doesn't have hope. He's like struggling. And then he finally closes with like, the bells basically answer his doubt. God is not dead, nor doth he sleep. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's just a different kind of, it's slower. It's more, it has some really cool chord changes in it. If you're not familiar with it, like, go find that song. Use our version. It's awesome.
Yeah, and it's available on all platforms. You can listen to it on Apple Music, on Spotify.
You don't even have to go to a
on
tutorial.
Amazon Music.
But if you wanted a tutorial, you could go
to worshipartistry.com.
/
Christmas.
Yes. Because we're giving these 5 new ones away for free.
I was like, what are you trying to hint at? I was like, where are we going with this? /
XYZ bot.
But yes, if you go to worshipartistry.com/Christmas, you can get volume 3 lessons for free.
Yep.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. And then we also have, in fact, if you listen to the podcast from last year, we actually did some deep dives into the carols that we did with some of those like kind of arranging notes with all the teachers, which was kind of fun.
Because now we have 15 of them.
Yes.
15 simple Christmas carols for you to choose from.
Right. And so now I just said that about how I heard the bells on Christmas Day is my favorite. But my favorite arrangement probably is Away in a Manger.
Yes.
Because so that was one, it's like a lullaby, right? Like it's just very soft. And I don't know how often I always think about it as like a Christmas pageant kind of a song.
Wait, elaborate, please.
You know what a Christmas pageant is?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So like a nativity or like a pet.
Oh, okay.
I think a Christmas pageant is more of like, I think it's like a nativity. There was an old like TV movie called The Greatest Christmas Pageant Ever.
I've never
That's
seen
why
that.
I called it that. Thinking nativity.
Okay. That makes more sense. I was like, a Christmas pageant, like a beauty pageant on Christmas Day? Like, that's what was in my head. And I was like, that doesn't seem right.
Well, it's funny. My pastor, he got it in his head that he just thought this would be the greatest thing. He saw somebody else do it, and he was like, we're doing this. And he was like, okay, we're going to get all the kids coming up, and we're going to assign things, and here's your little costumes, and we're just going to read the Christmas story, and you have to act it out.
Oh my gosh.
And it's just like, this is not going like you think it's going to go.
Hey, I played the angel for 3 years as a kid. And then I was Mary once or twice.
I was a wise man once. My kids, they go to a school and they do a nativity every year, and it's the same thing every year. So like your first year you're there, you're like, oh, look at them, they're all so cute. And then like by your third year, you're like, okay.
Oh, they're still cute.
All right, we're doing this song. All right. And by the end, your kid doesn't care anymore. They're like off looking around. You're just like, okay. And you're always like, why isn't Asher the drummer boy? Make him the drummer boy. That's the best job. Which is weird that there's a drummer boy, because let's be honest, it's not a whole lot of reference to that.
Yeah. Anyways, back to Away in a Manger.
Sorry, Away in the Manger. Sidetrack. With Away in the Manger, so we kind of gave it this very like soft swing, but then there's like this really pretty instrumental in the middle. There's a little slide guitar, and it just has this like, I just really enjoyed it. So that was actually a really fun one too. They're all fun, but those are the two that are real winners.
Yes.
Like last year was God Rest You Merry Gentlemen.
That you loved that one.
It's so fun. Well, because we made it kind of, it's almost like surf Western.
Yeah. And I think I actually make fun of that one the most, just when I think back to it. But it's the one that I just start singing. I sang it yesterday during your webinar.
Yeah. See there you go.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's just it was a different take on the song.
Yes.
Sometimes you gotta have fun. We go around, we spend hours and hours every week taking these songs and being as faithful to them as we can.
Yes.
To just make them like usable and able to reproduce. But we're all musicians. We all like to like play around.
Yeah,
and
you
goof
want to
around
enjoy playing these songs.
Right. That's the whole point.
Yeah. Well, question for you, Jason. This is I had, before we record this episode, I had posted on our social accounts asking if anyone had any questions. And we did get a question about how do you keep your team from burning out during this season?
The age-old question.
The age-old question. It's a good one.
It is. I think there's a couple things. The idea about the season is that this is supposed to be a season of expectation, a sense of sacred space. It's a time to reflect. You know, we have this image of the stable and the quiet night and silent night, but the Christmas season very rarely reflects that image. And so I think encouraging your team, to try and get in some rhythms in their own life that help bring that forward. So like one of the things that my family started doing last year, it's called Honest Advent, and it's 25 readings paired with 25 pieces of art, all done by this artist, Scott Erickson, whose work I love. He's always like mining spirituality, and it's beautiful because we all sit around as a family, and my kids, the first couple ones, they're just like, oh, we're doing this again. And you're like, we're going to do it, man. Just settle in. This is what's happening.
Take it in.
And so the first couple ones are a little tough, but essentially there's a piece of art and then there's a meditation. And so we always like look at the art before we ever read anything and just go, okay, we're going to pass this around. And then we go and we read through that, and what does this mean to you? Because they're kind of abstract. They're not necessarily like, here's a picture of Mary. It's like, there's more going on. And so, well, what is this saying to you? Well, why is that yellow and why is that gray? And why, we kind of like bring these things in, and then we do the reading together. And I find that building that rhythm into my day is like okay, this is what this is about. And then it like bleeds into everything else. So it makes me more joyful when I then need to sit down and learn some Christmas songs. And it's more like, okay, I've got this. So I think building those kind of sacred rhythms into life is great. I think the other piece is to prepare that, like, don't give them more than they can handle.
Yeah.
Like, I used to think that Christmas had to be this big production. And if your church does that, like, good on you. And that's like some people I know love that. I was talking to Bradford Mitchell, from Worship Tutorials, and he was talking about how he actually intentionally volunteered for his church on Christmas because he's like, I know it's a bigger production. I thought it'd be fun. And so it's like, great, do that. And if your team is all on board with that, if that's the case, equip them really well so that they're not like last minute, like stressing, because if you're confident, if you know what you're doing, it's very easy to kind of take these things on. But if you're not, if you feel like this is going to be too much, it becomes this like stressful thing that you're leading up to that you're nervous about.
Yeah.
And that's kind of lousy. It makes it hard to like live into the season.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking about like, this is a season where we're more than ever, I feel like throughout the year, we talk about peace and like peace on earth. We talked about it. And if we're doing things out of a place that's not restful, that's not out of stillness, and it's not causing us to be in peace, like, dare I say, don't do it.
Dare you say?
Dare I say, just like say no.
Yeah.
As a leader, I would say, encourage your team to get into rhythms of stillness and finding peace. That maybe your church is doing a big production, but before then, like, have moments where it's stripped back and maybe it's just, I don't know, a set with just piano, or something where it'll take away the stress off your team. Or don't schedule people more than they're able to be scheduled. Don't spread them too thin. Be hyper aware of people's this time, because not just in like church, in our lives, everyone has so much happening during the season of Christmas parties, family parties, get-togethers, just so many things. Like, it can be a stressful time, but encourage them to find peace, to start their day with stillness or something of just to set their mind on that. One time I had not one time I still have this worship friend. They didn't go away. Praise God. But I have this friend and he's known for doing a lot. He's always busy. He's always leading worship here and there. And one time he came to our church and he was going to lead worship as well. I had asked him to. And after I did, I asked him, I was like, hey, are you sure you want to? Because this is your like 5th day in a row leading worship. Like thinking about myself, like I would want a break.
Yeah.
And then he said something to me that I think about often, which is, oh, Christina, I'm doing it all out of rest. It's not stressing me out because I'm doing it out of rest. And I took that for myself and began using that as like kind of the gauge of when I say yes or no to things of, am I going to be doing this out of rest? Like, am I in a place in my life where I can say yes to this thing, knowing that I'll have enough, like almost rest in my tank to handle this.
Yeah.
Like,
well, because you're not really doing anybody any favors if you don't want to be there.
yeah.
You know, and I'm speaking to myself right now about something I'm thinking of. I am doing somebody a favor, and that's why I'm doing it. But I'm like, oh, dang it. Okay.
Yeah.
No, but it's...
Holy Spirit conviction.
Oh, it got me.
There it is.
One of the things about being a leader is that your people that you are leading don't always do a good job of keeping their own boundaries. And, some people are yes people, right? They're just, the answer is yes. I sometimes, and I'm trying to do better at this, I will sometimes not ask the question of, should I do this, but can I do this? Hey, can we do this? And it's like, yes, I can, but I shouldn't because that's going to be too much. Or, like you start kind of doing those things and like, it's really helpful. Yes, I'm responsible for that, but it's also really helpful to me when leaders go, why don't you not do this today?
Yes.
Like, why don't you take it? You don't have to be at that thing rather than making me turn around and go like, I need to say no to this, and granted, I need to do that as well. But I think with especially church volunteers, it's a good reason. It's a good mission. It's a good, like, we value those things, but I think being aware and watching those things about your people and going, man, Jay is in a bad way right now. He's just a little snipping at everybody and like, is he okay? Does he need a break? That kind of stuff I think is really, that's good leadership.
Yes. And especially during this time, I wish that I've had more leaders in my life that would recognize that in me, of just telling me almost not to do a thing when I am just full steam ahead being like, yes, of course I'll do it. Where it's like, well, should you?
Right.
Should you do it?
And it's a battle. Like, last week I was like, had a lot going on and I was finally like, I'm going to take a like emergency day off. Like I'm just going to, Friday, I'm going to just like go walk in the woods and just try and restore. And it was amazing how restorative it was. And B, all the creativity for worship artistry, for like the future, for what I want this business to be, all these things start coming to the surface when you just kind of let them, and I realized like, I'm like, okay, for the rest of the year, I'm going to try and make Friday that because like sometimes rest is the work.
Yes.
And it's like,
I mean, it even says in the Bible, strive to rest.
Yeah. It's like Christina thinks that every time I come bounding up the stairs and fly the door, I walk into this office like Kramer sometimes. I feel like it's just like, hey, here's what we're doing.
I'm here.
You did it. You sang.
No.
Got it. I don't actually sing it. I just walk in the door and start, this is what we're doing. I got an idea.
And I'm like, oh gosh, give me a second to like wrap my mind around what we're going to be doing right now.
But all that to say, I do recognize that though. So I try and like,
yes.
I've been trying not to do that. But at the same time, rest is important and encouraging your people to rest. And you as the worship leader should also be striving to find rest because rest is the work. It's part of it. That's where God can speak to us.
Yes.
And it's very easy to think of all the other things you have to do and even feel like, well, this doesn't work. This is this other thing. And it's like, no, if you're a creative, if you are a leader, if you need vision, if you need those pieces, like that's just as much a part of your job. And I would say I'm like neglecting that if I'm not taking that time. I'm actually doing everyone a disservice if I'm just burning the candle at both ends and not taking any time to reflect.
Yes. I would say if
yes. Please
Jason,
enjoy your Friday.
Please enjoy your Fridays of rest. No, I'm just taking it in, but even just for worship leaders listening, or if you're just a team member, just prioritize that this season.
Yeah.
Like if you are prone to being just super stressed out during the Christmas season, like take this as a note, as a reminder for yourself to just prioritize rest.
Yeah.
This
I'll tell you one other thing that's
me.
really helpful. It's too late now, but we do our best to get we did it one year where we got it all done, but we do our best to get Christmas shopping done before Thanksgiving. Mm. That is a game changer. Mm-hmm. Because then the season is just like, okay.
Get to enjoy it.
Right. Because what happens to me a lot of times, I go so hard up until Christmas break that the moment I take it, because we always take the week off in between, the moment I get there, I get sick. It's happened to me so many years. Like, I'm just like, my body just goes,
Finally, Jason, you are trying to rest.
Right. And but the last 2 years, I try and taper off a little bit, and that's made a really big difference
That's wisdom.
too.
So try to get it done early.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not Thanksgiving anymore, but you can still try to get it done early.
Yeah. Just take a day. Me and Allie will try and we'll actually go out to a coffee shop and bring a computer and just start what are we going to do? And we just kind of almost make it a date,
Yeah.
and avoid stores. I went into a store on Saturday and it's a terrible idea.
It's like going into Costco before Thanksgiving.
Support your local people for sure, but those going to the mall, it wasn't a good scene. Especially when you're hungry. Makes it worse.
Gosh. Yes. And then you're walking around hangry and it's just not it.
See, this is one of those lessons that you're learning from the things that we've done wrong.
I mean, I wouldn't say I've done it wrong, but I am learning from you.
Oh, man.
Well, and on that note.
Yes. If you actually want to go and learn these Christmas songs, we've got 15 of them. 5 of them are free. worshipartistry.com/Christmas. And then if you're like, I want to give myself or my team an early Christmas present, Worship Artistry is kind of killer.
Yes. It will help you prepare ahead of time. Or it will, worship leaders. This is basically a way for you to give a gift to your musicians and being like, I've arranged and provided you with lessons on how to play exactly what you need to be playing.
Right. And it's
a gift.
It's like giving yourself an extra team member.
It is.
I actually have a friend of mine who's a worship pastor, and he's like, I used to have people do this, and now you've taken that off their plate because you do it, and then everybody just gets it. And he's like, now those guys can focus on other things rather than sitting there and walking everybody through stuff. And I thought it was amazing that he would walk people through stuff in the first place. But he's just like, yeah, this is a game changer.
Yeah. So get yourself a Christmas gift, worshipartistry.com/Christmas.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Merry Christmas.